you want to take it?
Great, yeah, thanks everyone, and great hack this weekend. I just want to thank all of you for being here because the energy here was great, so thank you. This is a little unusual because we've never had guests just to come by of this quality level, I have to say. We have a friend of the hackathon, and she is New York City's first Chief Technology Officer. Her name is Minerva Tango, and I'd like to introduce her.
Hi, everybody. I'm Minerva Tango, and the Chief Technology Officer for the City of New York. And, on behalf of Mayor de Blasio, thank you so much for hacking away this weekend. And I'm really, really excited to see the solutions that you've come up with a little later today. And, we have a goal to make New York City the most tech-friendly and innovative city in the world. And it's very, very important to us that we not only have the latest and greatest smart city technology, but we think of ways to make to use technology to help equalize and democratize society, to close the tech divide and create greater technology equity or tech equity. We're thinking about, and that includes things like computer science education being accessible and available to anyone who wants it. That includes broadband access, low cost or free Wi-Fi access for those who want it. You can't really survive in the modern day without it. You can't look for a job. You can't do your homework. And for those of us who aren't, spoiled with gigabit access, it's really going to increase the technology divide if we don't assure that folks have, food, electricity, water, and Wi-Fi. I'm really, really excited. We're really rethinking and reinventing not only what we see as the future of New York, and relying on great minds like yours to help us co-design the future of the greatest city on earth, and also to think about how we can better engage and empower the residents of New York City. So, I'm very happy to be here. If you are interested in a great resource for the tech ecosystem in New York, visit digital.nyc. It is a mashup site. It was a public-private partnership where we have blogs, news, jobs, people looking to hire, people looking for jobs, people looking for funding. All that stuff is on this site. It's free. It's free to list your startup. And so I hope that you use this resource that we've just started to launch in October. So thank you very much, and I'm really, really psyched to be here, and want to see what you all have come up with. So thank you.
And she's actually going to be a judge, so get nervous. Thank you very much.
Start your bribes now.
So, David, why don't you take it off for the rest of the weekend, and good luck, everyone, all right?
Yes. All right. Awesome. So just a little quick. All right. Awesome. All right. So first of all, great weekend, guys. Real quick show of hands. How many people had fun? All right. How many people would come again? Yeah, exactly. So, of course, as you know, everyone is a winner, but today there are going to be some people who will be walking away with, well, we'll have your information so that way we can send you your prizes. So, there is a judging criteria. And then with that said, let's not delay and then kick it off with the guys at Punchbot. So, please, Team Punchbot. Make sure you tweet #AEC Hackathon.
I'm not going to have the outcomes this weekend. All right. Thanks, Damon.
Crossing the streams.
Don't cross the street.
We have this in.
Yeah.
All right. Ready to have some fun? Let's do it. All right. So we are Team Punchbot. We're so excited to be here. This is our first hackathon. Joe and myself, we're from Dallas, Texas. Woo! Texas and Dallas. All right. So we are a general contractor. We teamed up with our host, Field Lens. So let me introduce everyone first. So Todd, Joe, James. We got Stu. Where's Stu at? There he is, Stu. And Tony couldn't be here. He was here all day yesterday. We wore him out too much, so he couldn't make it today. But we are Team Punchbot. Really excited to show you what we came up with for today. But the first thing I want to do is tell you a little bit about the problem. Problem is you can't be everywhere at once on the job site. And our superintendents are constantly going out into the field. They're answering questions. They're capturing information. But the issue is you can't be everywhere. So what we came up with is a way to put a presence on site, could be multiple areas of the building, that connects to them and allows them to capture and log that information and get it to the appropriate people. We call it the Punchbot. The specific use we decided to take was punch list. This is whenever the building's almost done. It's the final push. The owner wants in. Everything's nice and neat, but we're still looking through and nitpicking on what we need to finish. And we want the Punchbot to be able to do it for the super so that he's not constantly having to be everywhere. This is how we did it. We combined a double robot. The company's called Double Robotics. It's basically a Segway with an iPad. It does work on cellular, Wi-Fi, and we combined that with Field Lens. For those of you that use Field Lens, greatest communication app out there for construction. We're able to log and document everything such as daily reports, progress photos, punch list items. So we made those two have a baby, and we call it the Punchbot. So without further ado, we want to show you, actually before the, let's film it. That wasn't cute. But I do want to tell you, it wasn't easy. We definitely had to hack it. We hit some major roadblocks yesterday. Joe, what were some of our roadblocks?
Yeah, we started working with the SDK for the double, and what we realized was that it wasn't everything we needed to do, and so we had to do some workarounds, even get Open Talk as a way to get the video to the driver. But we were able to work around that and finally get something that would work.
So what we're going to do, our driver today is James, and we're going to throw it up here. Let me disconnect my AirPlay. All right, James, go ahead and AirPlay up, and I'm going to do the same with mine. There I am.
So Todd's going to represent somebody in the office who's concerned about things in the field but doesn't necessarily isn't out there all the time, and then James is going to be the driver who's going around and checking on something. The robot's going to be our construction worker.
So notice he's in the Field Lens app right now, and he just fired up created efficiency from Punchbot. So now he can see through the camera. Let's see if we got it fired up on this end. Yep. So we can see James, handsome fella. And all right, James. So let's go ahead and navigate the building. You could be anywhere in the world right now.
I'm gonna try to go through to the elevator over there. So first, I'm gonna unpark it. It's gonna release the parking brakes on it, and then we're gonna start. You can see my touch inputs over there. So it's gonna start turning that way.
All right, clear path. So there you go. There's your virtual superintendent roaming the job site. Let's make sure that those who follow our lead.
Wait a minute, I thought he was in the office.
So we're going to go find, we actually found a punch list item in here when we were hacking today. So we want to be a good guest and document that for our host.
And then fix it for us.
We'll get to that. Okay, so over here at the elevator, we see a chip. You see that? Everyone see that chip? You can probably see it.
Yeah.
And then you want to lift it up a little bit?
Look at the chip.
Yeah.
That needs to be fixed. That's unacceptable.
We're glad you're here.
The heights of the iPad.
So he's taking photos, he's adding them to the efficiency item that they are getting stored in the system.
Go ahead and mark up on that.
He's gonna mark it up.
And now, just give that a little tag. I'm going to assign for the user, which is on his phone right now. His post, and he's going to see that on his phone. Alright. Oh, it's on their phone.
Yeah, so you need to open up the.
Yeah, it killed the play with 1 second. There it is. Fix chip on wall.
Yes.
Go ahead and reply.
So I'm going to go ahead and say, fix that ASAP. And I'm going to post my reaction. Real-time communication without even having to be on site while documenting and capturing the information from anywhere with a connection. That's the Punchbot, guys.
Field Lens is part of technology. Is there any open source software that you're using?
Yes,
open top.
It's open. It's not necessarily open source, but that's the third-party vendor we use to relay the video, and we also use the SDK provided by Double Robotics.
Very cool. Excellent job, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so my name's Brendan. This is Brian. We work for Beck. Specifically, we work in a group called the Virtual Building Group. We do a lot of laser scanning, 3D modeling, stuff like that. Recently, we got Project Tango. This little guy. Oh, very cool. So we got 2 Project Tangos about a month ago. And the problem we were solving today was terrestrial laser scanning. These are very expensive machines, 150 grand, super accurate, super heavy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of experience to know how to use them well. The problem is that these things are great, but they're not accessible to a lot of people, and they aren't especially useful, except in certain periods of time and when you want to spend a lot of money. So we have the Tango. Tango, if you don't know it, it's a Google A-tap prototype. The development kit came out a few months ago. Before that, it was in a phone form factor.
It's basically the camera system is built on the Microsoft Kinect. So it has like an infrared emitter that projects an infrared grid on any surface, and then an infrared camera that detects that pattern of light, and they can judge depth and shape recognition and things like that.
So the problem is, Tango has almost nothing written for it. It comes out, all it can do is show you point clouds. It can estimate its location, that's it. So for the past month or so, we've been working on exporting point clouds into a format that's useful. And so just to be fair, before this presentation, we were kind of at this point, right? This is a box. It's very hard to tell it's a box because nothing's aligned, right? So what we were trying to do was take the device's knowledge of where it is in the world and where it's oriented and the depth that it's reading out, combine this together to make one single image from multiple frames. So after this weekend, we've gotten to this point. Every one of these colors is a different frame captured at a different point in time from a different location. They're all stitched together. We'll do a live demo in a moment. We can take that frame, push it into Revit, and model off of it. It's dimensionally accurate, it's scalable, just like that. Here we go. How you can incorporate this into your workflow.
These are all scans of just this room. You recognize the kitchen and parts of it, stairwell over at the exit.
So the stairwell, the back corner, took about 1 minute to capture, upload it over the cloud, and bring it into Autodesk Recap. A couple minutes. We have thousands and thousands of points accurate dimensions. Here we go again. Colors in this case are showing you how far away each scan was from the device at each point in time. Tango gets less accurate with distance, so we're kind of limited to 4 meters is what it's saying. So as it gets closer to red, it gets worse. Purple's actually better in this case. Yeah. So this is kind of where we are right now.
We also started playing with the Autodesk data viewer and having on the tablet a button to upload it directly to Autodesk Cloud and then be able to view it from anywhere with their viewer. Didn't get that part working quite yet, but hopefully soon.
We can show you guys a few of these scans live. Fortunately, it's over here. We're not exactly hooked up to this HDMI port correctly. Live demos.
It's where it gets scary.
Yeah.
Shake it just like enough to scare them.
Yeah.
So here's that staircase. So I'm so moving right now. So here we go. We've got that wall correctly. All of this railing detail.
And so when he gets on an edge, you can start to see whether or not the scans are lining up, whether it's planar, which when we started this weekend it was not.
So this is kind of what we're looking at. This is the wall in a plan view. See, not perfect. We're getting a lot closer. And what we're kind of coming to realize is that the estimation of where the device is only so good. It gets very close, but not kind of the quality we need for construction and for the built environment. Show you a few more.
But we can also do traditional point cloud registration once the data is uploaded or on a PC, or we started looking at importing some libraries on the Tango to do some registration before we write it to disk.
So here's your kitchen. As you see, the fridge is invisible. The structured light doesn't really hold up on certain patterns. It's, if you're used to scanning that sort of thing, it's pretty common class, structural, shiny stuff, things like that don't work. But what's getting pretty exciting is that this wall is almost perfect.
So you don't use any targets for registration in terms of bringing the scans together?
Not on this one. You could.
Anyways, this is it in Revit. That's the kitchen again. Talking your floor plan. You can start moving your model elements to the point cloud. A lot of the stuff that you've done scanning, you're kind of used to, but this is a pretty easy thing. You just drop it right in. A few minutes. You're modeling off of dimensionally accurate, reasonably accurate scans. So I think that's about it for us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So the team is called Donet. My name is Mike. And
I'm Jonathan. I'm our camera. And today we hijacked Azure for 2 or 3 hours as well.
so we knew that we could export some useful data from Revit, but we knew that we couldn't mirror it with with a high level of accuracy. So we wanted to add some kind of actionable tools to that data that we were scraping out of that file. So we made it possible for each element in the design to have a thread of comments, and you can mark the comments as inappropriate if there's a problem, and you can mark the comments as resolved if it's no longer relevant to the discussion that you need. And then we also just made a checkbox so you can mark it when something is done. Like if a wall is built or a column is built, then you can just mark it as done.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be connected soon. But essentially we wanted to create a communication app between the people in the office, creating the designs and updating the drawings, and the person on site inspecting the model, or, you know, in our case, I work for a structural engineering firm, and we do facade inspections or structural inspections. So you just kind of walk around and you like, instead of taking photographs and creating kind of hand reports that have to be turned into a digital model eventually, you can just access model attributes right in the field, and you can write comments or you can make small changes to the model, and then that can automatically update, in this case, a Revit model back in the office.
Right, so what we built is basically an importer to send data from the Revit model into our database-backed web application using Ruby and a lot of JavaScript technology. All of which is essentially open source on that side of the system. And then via the web, you can update the comments and whether things are done. You can invite members to collaborate on the project. And then we also worked on exporting that thread of comments back into the Revit file itself.
Do you want to go here? Give them a So, yeah, you'll see it in a second, but essentially we have, the user has to register, so this is all secured, and only people with the right access rights can see what projects are live right now. All of them obviously are called test 1, 2, 3. So Mike just signed in, and so he can see one of his projects. Basically, you can just kind of see the name, description, etc. So up until last night, all we had was a link, kind of a text link, where you could see certain Revit ID and wall type and thickness and such. And you could modify those like in the field, or you could leave a comment and say, this wall is not tall enough yet, or this wall is, whatever the problem may be. But then today we started to integrate an open source viewer that we had created in the previous hackathon, so that we can also start to visualize the Revit model in the field, essentially, and start marking up right there. And we, of course, did not practice for this demo. So there's a lot of, you have to request access in order to participate in the project if you're not on the project team already. So he's getting an email right now, most likely, that says, can you please confirm that I'm your teammate and I have access to your project repository. So it's a pretty secure web application. Maybe a bit too secure for a demo. So Conrad right now can see who's requesting membership, and he can. I wish we could show this screen as well. And he can approve his membership's rights, and now they're team members.
So here is where we have a list of the different structural objects that were exported from Revit into our database, and our end goal is to use the visual integration to make it easier to know which wall you are commenting on, but for now we can say like, this wall, really strong.
Can we connect this laptop as well to one of the other screens? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, mini HDMI.
And then here is the interface where we can moderate the comments to make sure that the only ones being exported are actually the ones that the architect needs to see. So now I think if anyone would like to, you're welcome to come to this address, which is dunit.herokuapp.com. And from there you can sign up. You can request access to this very last project in the list, and then we can I'll comment on until everything falls down and breaks. We can all comment on those walls.
Yeah, and we actually have another part of the demo right now, finally being shown on the screen over there. So essentially, as we, make comments, so this is something else we can do here. We can also click on the individual Vim elements and change properties, and they will be sent back into Revit through this Dynamo interface that we created. So there's actually a link between, the job site or wherever we may be right now, and the kind of the modeler in the office. So they can see which comments are coming in from him, and then they can make modifications to the file and upload it again, and say, hey, do you like it now, or does it match what you see on the site?
So these are all the comments I'm pulling back from the web interface, and hopefully update this. And you got an extra item here, and it should be a comment that Mike posted.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but
This wall is really strong, so you can see we're gonna start parsing of the data so it's a little bit more user friendly. So you can see all the comments that have been submitted for the model right back in the Revit interface, so you can further go and start playing around with that. And at the same time, once you resolve all the comments, you can, from that same interface, you can push your projects back and just keep going.
can you create a new project?
Can you click on the model and see what comments if there's comments on it?
I got a separate thing that I was working on to start writing the comments back to the elements themselves, but we haven't. It's not fully operational yet. But once we have it here in the Dynamo, it's really it's just a matter of parsing through that and writing it back. It's not too hard.
Can you view one of? Can we go to the viewer for one of the second to last project? One of the later projects. So we started today. We started to implement the viewer as well. Like I said, the problem was we always had a different access key when we were creating the model. So now, we have to still gain access to the project in order to demonstrate it. Anyway, we started to create a way to upload geometry data from Revit to a couple of the projects at this point. And you will see hopefully when we log in with Conrad's credentials, because he was creating the data, that there should be, for some of the projects, there should be like a field that says has geometry. Maybe. Maybe not. This is too ad hoc. There we go. So this project has a geometry file. I don't know, something's break loaded. Anyway, you get the sense. We're this close to showing it.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay, and so we had a question from one of our streaming judges. That's why I'm kind of running in front of you guys. How much of that was created this weekend?
Oh, this whole app was created this weekend.
All of this was created this weekend.
And also all of the plugins for Dynamo were created this weekend.
And all the plugins for Dynamo.
So basically everything we saw. The viewer was not created this weekend, but we didn't see the viewer. So.
All right, everything you saw.
So we're team SXY plan, and our product is subschedule. So when we got here, one of the things I love about the hackathon is the compressed time, what we can challenge ourselves to do and accomplish. And so what we did when we arrived, as we like to do, we look for people that are in the industry with problems that need solutions, and we bring our technical background to bear on those problems and see if we can't come up with something that's not just forward-thinking, but maybe even immediately practical to make a difference with what's going on any given job site. So I tell you, what we've accomplished in this amount of time, this hackathon, I couldn't be more proud of. Everything that you're going to see here is built this weekend, ground up. A mobile app, a server, the APIs in between, the design, the output, all of it. And I've never been so excited, I think, not about Tom, I'm pointing beyond him, to finally understand a linear scheduling, right? I think, Curtis, you were talking about this at the first hackathon, and my brains poured out my ears, like looking at that thing. And boy, when you actually start to understand the multidimensional nature of a linear schedule, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty powerful in what it exposes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and let Tom.
Yeah, so I'm Tom. I'm a contractor, and Michael and Mike and Greg were kind enough to give their time in helping me solve my problem.
Yeah.
I've made, of course, well, how's a consultant on the contractor side? So we're same team there, and Matt, of course. But so we three are looking for these three to provide a solution. The problem is, I as a contractor have made a promise to my owner. I'm going to give him the perfect three. I'm going to give him good, I'm going to give him fast, and I'm going to give him, the third one, right?
Quality. No, that was good. Sorry.
Cheap.
Good, fast, cheap. Yep. So the joke is, here are your three: good, fast, cheap. Pick one. I mean, pick two. So
What company do you work for? You only get to pick one?
yeah, only pick one. So we picked one of the two, the three that you want to give, and we focused on that one being the fast. Schedule is your plan. You gotta plan the work and work the plan. So you schedule all the work out, and then that schedule's got to be revised because things change on a job site. You're working every day with a new schedule. So as a contractor, I'm looking to track that schedule, and I look to these guys to give me a tool to do it.
So this is a big problem, right? Lack of time, transparency, maintaining schedules, once work is begun, and anticipating issues and real-time data. So we basically decided, we came up with this problem this weekend. We're in New York, it's the AEC Hackathon. What's better than to think about the best building in New York, the Empire State Building? And how did they build the Empire State Building in 1930 in such a short period of time, and we have such a hard time doing it now? And they did it with linear scheduling. So we took modern technology and combined it with those old techniques and built this app.
So the challenge to us was, like the challenge most that provide software, is that it has to be easy. The problems that we tackle on the job site, that you all tackle on the job site and I hear about, they're really complex. And the challenge for us is to make sure that our software is not equally as complex to use. So getting you into the job site, whatever you need to record, and coming back out with the data. And really, we look at the software as tools. And like any tool, they're just force multipliers, or they enable the person to be more productive or apply more pressure, if you will, to the problem at hand. It had to be collaborative, because one of the things that we learn as we're talking about this process is that how the data is so often siloed with one individual or one team, and we got to find ways to use technology to break down those barriers and make sure that communication is flowing back and forth freely, and bringing that data out of the field. And really importantly, on a real time, because when you're talking about scheduling, a miss on one day has a profound effect for the remainder of the job at times. So we really got to focus in on that particular part of it. So our solution is subschedule, which is a fun, like all puns you have to explain, but it's a tracking tool and conflict avoidance through linear view and drafting. And you want to talk a little bit about the value, and then we're going to jump into it.
Yeah, value really, I mean, you're trying to save time. You got all these people looking at the schedule, and you've got to plan the work accordingly. So the goal is to save 3%. Can we get people to save 15 minutes a day by having a collected schedule?
And we think that's pretty conservative, right?
That's very conservative, yeah. And okay, 3%, 15 minutes, 3% of your day, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 3% is what a general contractor takes in fee on a job. That's his whole revenue stream. So if you double that, that's a lot. We're talking about a lot. Matt, you had something to add as far as how we value.
Hours of rehearsal.
Well, you and I, we were talking about the waste on the job site and how you streamline, how linear scheduling plays in to
maybe
minimize
for those
waste.
that don't understand linear scheduling.
Right. So linear scheduling is really a great tool, because as a superintendent, you're able to see and plan your work in a linear format and a graph visual format, so that you can optimize your crew workforce in such a way. You can see the graphs here. We've tried to visualize it. And that, Doug, I'm sorry if I got any marker on here. I'll send the painter. Basically, what happens is you're able to optimize your crews in a certain location. So in case you have guys stacked on top of each other, or there's dead space, you can optimize how many people you have going on at a time.
Okay, so really quickly, making sure we're checking all the dots. There's the tech and all the open source stuff that we used. So, and let's get into the demo. Okay, so Grace is going to take it away. Okay.
Sorry, I talked too much.
It's okay. So like Michael said, we've got a mobile app here, and the focus of the mobile app is to allow someone in the field to keep tabs on all their line items and basically track progress on them. So what we have here is a long list of data that we imported. A lot of it's in the past, as you can see by the dates that are there.
Tom, what are those items? Just for
Yeah, essentially you're importing from the schedule you've already put together in Primavera, oftentimes a Gantt chart even. It's really just your task item, who's doing it, when you're going to start, when you're going to finish.
So the app will display this, so you can see the line items by the package they're in and the trade they're involved in, what level of completion they have. So we can go into one of these. And then these are color coded, as you can see the yellow indicating that the work's not complete and it's past its start date, so something to keep an eye on. And the red ones have no work done and it's past their start date, so you really need to pay attention to this.
So the idea is that the team can take advantage of this mobile app, and the ease of use is just tapping into one of them and quickly recording the percent complete as well as the head count for that particular trade. So
we've got probably that one of these. You can see, all right, a little bit of details, and you're on the site and go, okay, this one looks like it's about half done, so I'll just pop it up there and say there was 12 people on the website. Great, it'll record that, pop it in, send it up to the server.
So the server grabs it. We have a web interface over here that collects all of the data for view and edit as well. And so this is actually working and live. So the commit that he's just made has actually gone to the server as well. And
you see it right there. This is just for those few. You can edit them in here. Percentage 48.7. You can update it if you want. Add.
Okay, so
Description, something like that. I spelled really well. And it's got the whole value. Sorry about that. And so we'll update that to 49%. Save that.
So once that commit's made, the idea here is that we begin to not only build a linear schedule from this, but we're also editing it live from in the field. So where we did get to was collecting all of that data, but building these graphs was too much to do, and frankly, the amount of time that we have. But we've got it all collected nicely, and as an alternative, what we were able to do is hook Excel directly into the website to pull that data down and actually affect the chart right there.
How, before you get started, Mike, did you talk about the filter and how, as far as ease of use?
30 seconds. 30 seconds. It's really easy to use in your filters.
Yeah, no, you can see the 49% is reflect on this Excel spreadsheet already. So you can have any graph you want, and you can have pie chart. You can also have any chart that Excel was available or offered for you, and can manipulate those data as you need it, and there's current data. So you can see this, the flow is like within 1 minute. There's no delay. That's the beauty.
Excellent. Excellent. So real time update. And I think we're done.
Hi all. My name is Anna. Hi, Arjun. We have one more member. Actually, he contributed, but he has to leave. And to medium one from ACE. So we're going to present VRX, which is virtual reality as a collaborative platform. And this comes from this idea between somebody working in an office and somebody working on the side, but also how people are collaborating these days. So you may as well have two people working in an office. One is an architect, one is an engineer. Currently, Elton and I work for a structural consulting company, and so we do a lot of work to bridge the gap between the two. So sometimes you might find people making changes in a model, the architects, while the engineers are doing their work on a model that is already obsolete. But that also happens, I guess, on the construction side where something is on paper, and so we're totally talking about different elements, and we don't have a stream of updated information. So we were working on this project where we're taking actually one of the sample models of fabric and just getting the information of each element. That information that you see on the left side, the family, the section, the material, the location. And then just using something that is really, really cheap. You can actually do it yourself, or I don't know if anybody here hasn't heard of the Google Cardboard, but it's basically made of cardboard. You can buy or like get these two lenses and a magnet, and that's all you need. And then you get your phone. In this case, I have an Android phone. I was just asked if this works with any other like iPhones. I honestly don't know. But I've been interested in this for a little bit, and then I took this opportunity to try to develop an app using the demo that comes with the cardboard. And I had never programmed in Java, so thankfully Will, who is not here right now, he has programmed before, and he's been super helpful. And Dupont has also been trying to help us with Unity, because at the beginning we started using the Android Studio demo that comes with it. But then you had to get all the vertices of all the geometry that you had. So we said, okay, let's not do that and use Unity, where you can just import a model and go from there. So what we have achieved, which is not as much as I was hoping, but it's something, is that we have that model, we have the information that we save into a CSV file with all the information for each element according to their ID. We stream them, but unfortunately the text doesn't come through. We don't know why. We've been working on it for like the past 4 or 5 hours, but that didn't happen. But instead, if you guys want to come and try this out, just put it on, and then you can see the model. You can walk around, and you can select an element. And so ideally, you would pull the magnet and then get the information about the element. And so we not only envisioned that for me to use it by myself, but ideally I could have this one, Elton could have another one, and maybe my color is green, like this one that you see. Her color is yellow, so whatever I'm selecting, she gets to see it too. And so we're suddenly in a much more immersive environment. And what's more, you could imagine this becoming more of an augmented reality tool, where you're not only using this as a virtual device, but you could be on the construction site and overlaying what you see on the what you get from the virtual world into the reality, and like, hey, this beam is not this size, it should be this other size, or like the offset. I don't know, there are so many things that change, and so. We envision the virtual reality exchange, that's why we call VRX, we start from a very simple example that basically it's for the one person. As soon as you see the element, when you see it, the color is changed and you select, you're able to select. So we thought, okay, what if we basically think about this tool as a digital room? So you have the model, you invite the other person into the same room, and that person able to see what you can see and click. So I think that's so much powerful for the enhance the collaborations between the different agents, between either the architects, the engineers, also in the person in the construction site.
And so, like in the future, I imagine now that Jonathan has represented this, like you could even have all those comments come through. You could be streaming live information because Dynamo is like reading everything that is in the model. So whatever you pour in there, you can get it back and just get it in your device. You can also, I mean, there is so many. I find so much potential in this because you could have several filters and say, hey, I just want to see
get the information regarding the section. I just want to see the information regarding the material. So, just yeah, like I said, unfortunately the text doesn't show up, but it's there. So you're gonna have to believe us.
Yeah, we had a little bit struggling with the grade system because the hand-mounted display system actually poses a different challenge. So you don't have the concept of screen, so how can I actually show information on the screen? So we've been struggling on that. But my perception on this tool, a really compelling advantage is this is like so cheap. This is just cardboard. I mean, without this, you can, if you have like the joints, you can make it yourself at home, and it really brings. Well, Oculus Rift, everyone knows, brings the VR device price down to the consumer market, but this really it makes it so cheap everyone can use it on the job site, and then you don't need to worry about breaking it. You can like quickly replace it. Everyone has a cell phone. It turns the cell phone into a VR device. So basically, everyone here has a VR device.
And then you can buy it in color and do that also. Yeah, that's
Jennifer and Lubna are going to tell us a little bit about the young ladies that have joined us, what they were doing in the other room, and I will go ahead and let you ladies take it away. I can help them do whatever they need to do. Oh, actually, Brian is going to be awesome to hear that makes both of us very happy.
So we're Futuristas, and it's an organization that tries to get girls to go into science, technology, innovation, and careers. And rather than there's a number of organizations that work with girls on kind of skill development and coding, and this is really important, but we also want to engage with the industries that are going to need these workers and this talent and their perspectives, and help expose them to what the possibilities are from an employment point of view and whatever their passion is, so across various sectors, so they can see how they can apply this in their lives and in the real world and for potential careers. So we figured for the AEC Hackathon, Minecraft would be an ideal platform to use because lots of girls are engaged in building in Minecraft. So we set them a few options for challenges, building a smart or green building or town, looking in an environment where you've had to adapt because of climate change and extreme weather, so sort of out of the ordinary environment to build in. One of the options was to recreate 21st Street, and actually we had 3 teams, and they each took one of those challenges on. So we'll start with a quick introduction of the girls and your ages, and then they'll walk through what they've done in a couple of hours, 2.5 hours of work? Yeah. Okay. Want to start? Just introduce yourselves.
Okay. So I'm Nana. I'm Izzy. I'm Danica. I'm Sharon.
Hey girls.
You're all 11, 10, 11.
Yeah, we're all 11 and 10.
9.
Okay.
Okay.
So we took up the challenge to make a green, the smart town. So made this town. So we have. Okay, so we have this. It's like a few pens, and we got a lot of chickens, but they all escaped. Well, they escaped like 5 times, or more like 20. But so we had a lot of pigs also, and we also have a lot of pigs.
They were so busy building, they didn't do very much practicing on the presentation.
Yeah. Well, no, we didn't do it. Well, we have that, and then we have horses and pigs that escaped also. Pigs. Oh, the pigs that escaped. Okay, now.
We have these like they're daylight sensors, so they're kind of like solar panels. They take the energy from the sun, and we have lamps under them, so like there.
It's gone in, and they're wired up with redstone, which is pretty much like wiring, just random stuff. Yeah, it's Minecraft wiring. Energy. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's that.
Wait, okay.
You just wow, whatever.
Okay, this is the greenhouse.
It's a greenhouse.
Wait,
It's a greenhouse.
Okay. We're growing melons, pumpkins, and wheat.
Yeah.
And potatoes and carrots.
Potatoes and carrots.
Yeah, and yes.
So
Yeah,
we
and
also
the
made.
greenhouse. Dude, close the door.
And we also made a dog training.
Sorry, I made
a dog training center, and so you could train
It
your
doesn't
dogs.
work.
Yeah,
Train your dogs.
Yo, it
Like
doesn't really
dogs.
work, and somebody blew up something.
I love it. That's a drainage system.
Okay,
When
okay,
it rains, the water goes out. Okay, so basically when it rains, the water like goes down the things, the holes in the ground, it goes down into the big hole in the middle on each side.
Yeah, it's supposed to start raining.
Yeah.
But it's not really
Dude,
working.
can you touch it?
Nope, see, it worked. Okay, so we also made some public showers.
That's so random.
yeah, and we also made a tree farm.
So this is a tree farm. Basically, the water drains into the middle when you're cutting the wood, and the wood like falls into the water and goes to the center where you are, so you can efficiently like get wood without doing a lot.
Alrighty.
No. So we have this thing.
It's like a weather tower thing. Yeah.
A weather tower thing.
Oh, that's what you did. Okay.
Okay.
And
So
basically, you just climb the stairs up to here, and there's like this platform, and when a cloud comes, it goes right inside of this. So you're basically in a cloud. It's really cool.
yeah. Okay. And now we also made this huge like water system thing.
Oh yeah. It's
And
like a
so
canal thing.
yeah, and so like it comes from this well to this lake all the way over here. So then you can just like pick up the water and go back or just pick it up from there. Yeah, we do.
You guys did such an amazing
Wait,
job.
we're not done.
You know how to wrap up?
Okay, wait, we're done.
30-second warning.
Oh wait. Okay, so there's a mine shaft down there, and over here. So when like a hurricane comes, which actually can't happen in Minecraft, but still, you can go in here where there are like community beds and stuff.
It's like a survival shelter.
Yeah, pretty
A
much.
bomb shelter.
Yeah, pretty much, but it's not underground, so yeah.
Okay, get ready for
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, this is our next team who will introduce themselves and talk about what they've built. Louder.
Thank you for inviting us to this wonderful event and beautiful place. Hi, we are Molly and Riley of the team. We are 10 years old and we are in the 6th grade. We selected the challenge to recreate this section of 21st Street. We started by using Google Earth and accessing street level pictures. Then I used my Minecraft skills to recreate two buildings on each side of the road. I'm going to walk you through what I built. Great. So this is the building, which is great. Here,
Just bring it into 30 West 21st Street.
And then this is the building
This is better than most Revit models I've seen. That was huge.
And then this is the building next door. Here it is.
Awesome. Very good.
Very
Face this way. I'm Julian and I'm 8 years old. And I'm Lulu and I'm 7 years old. And we built this redstone lamp made out of redstone and also daylight sensors. And well, so at nighttime, the daylight sensors don't sense the light. So the piston will go down, and the glowstone will be up there. And in the daytime, the piston goes up and keeps the glowstone there till it's night. So it's basically like a lamp. And also I tried it to do it with 2 others, but they didn't work. And they both used daylight sensors, but none of them worked until I put the daylight sensors close to the redstone, and then I could make it work.
You might stand on the side. That's okay, so they're zombies and pizza too, right? Or just pizza?
I made a pizza place because people in the city need something fun to eat, and pizza's fun to eat. Hi, Watkinson. I originally put villagers here, but zombies unfortunately turned my villagers into zombie villagers. Yeah. Let's open the chest.
we have.
Inside this chest we have cake, raw pork chop, cooked pork chop, and an apple. And also, there's one more thing. There's one more thing that we built, and it is very odd, but we built a trash can.
Wow.
We drop things into the void. Yeah. And yeah. Or they will fall into the void. In the void, if let's say the pig was over here, I'm just gonna so I have so I had the flint and steel.
5 seconds.
And I don't want the flint and steel. So all I have to do is I open up the trap door there, and then I drop the flint and steel down, and then it just gets rid of it. You don't have to show you this, but I made a pig pen for the pepperoni. I was going to put pigs in it for pepperoni. I did. I put too many pigs so they flooded out of it. So.
Here's your future.
I just want to thank everybody. Well, of course, the Hackathon, but and our sponsors and hosts, Fieldlands, and Nora for coming and sharing this with us and giving the girls an opportunity. It's not only doing it, but also getting that warm reception that's going to make all that difference. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, so this is a time where we ask the judges to go ahead and decide the future. But I personally think all of y'all failed, they won. So anyways, you know, so yes. So if the judges don't mind, yeah, if you can take Chris with you, please. Yeah. Okay, so out of the judges, who is RSD? All right, Chris, you can look at him.
Alright. So, first of all, we were very torn because, especially at the insistence of the West Coast judge, we tried to award all the prizes to the girls from Futurista.
Fortunately for you guys, they were in a category by themselves.
Yeah, that's right. We weren't allowed to give them all the prizes. So luckily, some of you have won. So we'll just switch off. What we did was we had several categories of winners and then an overall winner. So I'll announce the first one and we'll just take it. So for the category Best Technology, it was Team Tango.
And for best collaboration, we had Punchbot.
Yeah.
Chris, you want to do open source?
Donet.
And AEC problem, it was Sexy Plant.
And then the overall winner for today's hackathon is VRX.
Whoa.
Visualization has sort of been around for a long time and working on, but I think the collaboration piece and the open source that they were bringing on were the piece on top. So.
Excellent. Awesome. All right.
And a big round of applause for our judges. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.